if you talk to people about moving to the Caribbean, the images that normally come to mind are sitting on a beach, sitting in margarita, and that's all well and good, but there is so much more to the Caribbean. And on the island that I am privileged to reside on, Grenada, there are so many business opportunities, which is why it's a huge, huge pleasure to have Royston Cumberbatch on the line with me. Royston, I will let you introduce yourself. Tell us your role and what you do in Grenada.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, so Royston Cumberbatch, I'm born and bred in Grenada, where I was actually educated up to like college level. I worked here for a bit, and then I was always ambitious, so I traveled. I went to the UK to study accountancy, and I qualified as an accountant in the year 2000, so over 20 years ago. And I ended up working in financial services, big companies. In fact, some of the biggest companies in the world, like Aviva Insurance, HSBC Bank, State Street Bank, Lloyds Bank, all the big companies you can think about. And also contracted. And you know, one of the questions I remember that even before I had my British citizenship, I remember going to the immigration and then actually like to sort of renew my my student visa, and they asked me, how long you want to stay? And I always said, maybe 20 years, and then I'll go back. So I always had a dream of coming back to Grenada because I love Grenada. I mean, even when I was abroad, I come back almost every year, twice a year, etc. I really love the Caribbean. I love Grenada. I'll tell you something that when I say I love it, like even when I came on holiday, and I was like, the last thing I would do would be to go on the beach before I fly away. And then I was always asking myself, why am I going back? So I really love it. Of course, my mom is here, my family is here, etc. So I moved back last year, May. I must admit, I kind of wanted to move back like 2 years later, but COVID made me reassess everything. I actually lost my job as well just before COVID, and I was heavily leveraged, like invested in properties and stuff. So I kind of reassessed everything, the meaning of life. And I thought, yeah, you know, it's not all about owning assets, it's about having a certain quality of life. And I decided to come home and no job, nothing like that. I was running my own small business, coaching people who wants to set up business, people who wants to understand finance. And that's what I was doing. So I just came back. Of course, I have a very good skill set, being an accountant and being a small business coach. So I knew, of course, I can find work anyway. I can work on my own. So I came back, and within 5 months, I ended up working at the Grenada Investment Development Corporation, where I've been for the last 9 months. So in that role, I am the VP or the manager of one of the strategic business unit, which is Investment Promotion Agency, or IPA, and it's responsible for promoting Grenada as a place to invest and also facilitating investors, and that is local as well as foreign. And when we say facilitating, we mean hand-holding, giving free advice, what businesses you can go into, how to incorporate, potentially help to raise funding. So all is actually a free service that we give because we are partly funded by the government. Of course, if you want incentives, then there's a fee. We also do aftercare, so we actually go and visit projects that we are funding, or not funded, projects that we've incentivized. But we actually want to fund projects as well. But that's something that I'll probably get on to later on in terms of working with the board, the new board, because new government. I think we should be funding small businesses, etc. So yeah, that's kind of a nutshell of me and where I am and what I've done. Hope that gives you a good flavor.
It does indeed. And you kind of answered what was going to be my second question is, you know, why, I think often when people move abroad, obviously there are many negatives to being away from Grenada, but there are many pros as well, especially if you are ambitious, if you want to have a successful career. So maybe you can talk a little bit more about why didn't you just wait until you retired? Why didn't you just, you know, stay there, get back in the game and keep on climbing up the ladder and just settle for 2 months on Grenada or 2 weeks on Grenada's beach once a year? Why did you feel the need to come back? What was it about Grenada in particular?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. And I remember like, even when I was like, I spent 24 years in England, right? And even when I was like 5 years, 10 years in England, people in the community would be like, are you back? Are you back? I was like, I think that there was an expectation that I would come back. And also, I think I also actually had a vision of coming back, because what I find happen is that many people go abroad and then they come back to Grenada and then they moan about, I don't know, the healthcare system or the road, or they moan about something. But the question is, what have you done to contribute towards your own country?
Well done.
You know what I mean? So for me, I think I came back to make a contribution. And I didn't want to do that when I'm old, when I'm retired. I wanted it when I'm full of energy. And here I am, right? I'm actually making a contribution. I'm helping people every day. As I said, I'm also director of an NGO, which we can speak more about. So yeah, I'm making a massive contribution to my country, to my people. And that's something I'm really proud about. And I see that as better than just working in someone else's country until you get old and gray, and then you come back and then you're expecting to have good healthcare, good roads. So that to me wasn't a model I wanted to work with.
No, I think that's fantastic. And I think more and more people, if more and more people did that, came back and contributed, then 20 years down the line, when we need that sort of stuff, that it will be there. It's not going to happen by accident.
But I want to say, if you found a niche and you want to expand in that niche, you will find that it's very lucrative, because there are gaps in the market. We are obviously a developing nation. Therefore, there are many businesses that are obviously needed, and will do well. For example, I'll just give you one example: a vegan business.
Yes, please, Lord.
You know what I mean? Someone that sells. I mean, I actually started a vegan business in the UK called Liberty Kitchen, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and we used to have like 10 different salads, you know what I mean? You know, we used to spiralize sweet potatoes, you know what I mean? We used to have raw cakes, you know, things like that, you know. It's a simple example as a vegan business. It's needed, it's a gap. There is no real vegan business on the island, you know what I mean? And there's a number of others which I can, you know, wheel off. And if anybody's listening and they want some business ideas, yeah, get in touch.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your honesty, because if you said that everything was fine, I would have to like taking a sip of water because there's lots of room for improvement. But I think, as you say, that's no reason not to be here, and it's not going to change without effort and collaboration. And hopefully, with this new government, this is my first interview under an NBC Grenada.
Wow, thank you.
I know, right? It's hence the smile. I'm accidentally wearing yellow.
I like that.
Hopefully with people with experience in running businesses, that recognition of the need to change and the struggles that they went through, they will want different for generations to come. So it does feel like an exciting time to be here.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very exciting time to be in Grenada. I mean, I'm happy that I'm here now. And I'm happy actually that I came a year ago, because now I actually understand the environment and where I am. And I hopefully that this new government will open up opportunities for people like myself who have had 20 years plus in financial services, who understand you know, how to manage finances of bigger companies as well as small businesses, right? So I think Grenada needs that, and it needs more persons like me to actually come back, not just in finance, but persons in different skill sets, you know, whether it's marketing, whether it's a medical field, you know, persons need to come back, right? Don't wait until you retire, you know, so yeah.
Yeah, but to follow on from that, and this conversation is going all sorts of different directions, but given that you left when you were young, not that you're not young now, but
in my 20s.
Exactly. Given that you left then, you've come back after a couple of decades. What advice would you give to others returning after a similar length of time, who've had the bulk of their professional experience overseas, to adapting to the cultural differences that there are here? Because there are some.
It's the
many.
biggest challenge I face. Even I actually tell my boss that where I work, I report to the CEO, and I tell him like the cultural it's just hard. I mean, productivity is kind of low. I guess because I work in a statutory body. I guess different companies are different. I want to tell you though that because what I do is I don't just do one thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I do 3 or 4 things. So therefore I'm very busy, you know. But I think when you come back to Grenada, you have to be prepared to work and don't just see that as a place to come and relax, you know what I mean? Because if you do that, then you kind of fall into the way of life here. But if you come back willing to work and be productive, you will almost be like a leader. You know, you will be setting the pace, you know, rather than following the crowd, you know. Because of course, when you come back here, you think things are just so, things tend to be a bit slower than you are used to, you know. Even decisions take longer, even many things are different, you know. But so you have to ease yourself in as well, you know. I think, I don't know, luckily for me, I think I'm a quick learner, so I kind of realize, okay, that's the way things are, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to be the way things are, you know. Yeah. So I'm all about change, and I'm all about like making people understand that look, they've got to be productive. For example, in my own team, I've been telling people now work starts at 8 and finish at 4. And if you come at 9, finish at 5, you know what I mean? Because that is not the standard, you know. So,
and what about the reality? I think it's the reality that a lot about being able to make progress in Grenada is about who you know. Now you might say it's no different in the UK, but I think that there is a slight difference. So how do you, I mean, like, and for you were able to find a job after 5 months, but I guess that also has to do with the fact that you were coming here regularly for 20 years plus, so you weren't starting from scratch. But that sort of the nepotism aspect that has been spoken to by the new Prime Minister, how do you advise folks to navigate that aspect? Because it's a reality, I think.
Yes, reality. And I always say it's not just who you know, it's who knows you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So how do you get known? How do you get known? But do social work, you know what I mean? If you want to get known in Grenada, come and do something, you know, support a school, support an organization, you know what I mean? Don't do anything, even support your own family, and you'll get known for that, you know what I mean? Don't just go away and spend 30 years away, never supported anything, never did anything, and just come back. No one knows you. Not even people in your community knows you. So like even when you come on holiday, don't live in a hotel, go home, live home. I mean, if your home is not up to standard, support your family, you know what I mean? So because once you start getting known in your community, then that's the place to start, as I actually said, you know, because if you're known in your community, most likely someone in the community knows someone outside the community and they can speak on your behalf, you know? So, don't just wait until 30 years or 25 years and come back. No, that's the wrong thing to do. When you come back every 2 or 3 years, be in the community, do something for the community, do something for your country, and then you will get known. And then when you're ready to come back, that's the person that donated, I don't know, computers to this X and Y school, that's the person that, donated medical equipment, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. I think I knew that I wanted to move back to Grenada, and I started building my runway probably about 8 years before I came here. So networking, profiling young change makers, starting a business. And also I think in the digital age, there's so much that you can do virtually. You don't physically always have to be in Grenada to make
it. On Facebook, for example, you know what I mean? Right. Champion Grenada, follow people in Grenada, connect with people in Grenada, you know what I mean? I mean, I actually made that kind of stuff. Because you're right in a sense that the person who is my CEO, I actually met him before. I mean, I don't think it detracted from the process. I think it was a true and fair process. Of course, I'm coming back from the UK with a lot of experience, because actually I was interviewed by a panel. So it wasn't a one-person decision. And most of the panel, I've never actually met them before. You know what I mean? but I think it does help when you know someone, or at least you know someone who knows someone else who can actually speak on your behalf as a reference, for example.
Yeah, and the idea is if your work speaks for itself, isn't it? And to sort of rock up and be like, do you know who I am? Do you know what I did back there? Like, that's great, but how does that translate? Probably not very well. So, you know, put the work in.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, put the work in and be a worker, you know, be a doer. And they often say, like, you know, actions speak louder than words, right? So, you know, come on the ground and take action, network, link up with people, you know, go out socials. I mean, you have a good thing going here with, you know, the Exodus movement, you know, where people even get to know people online.
Yeah.
You know, so even if people have never don't know anyone in Grenada, the fact that people are moving back to Grenada and they're all on the same platform, now, of course, by the time they move back, they already know other persons, and maybe they know someone who started a restaurant, and they goes, "Hey, I can manage a restaurant. I can work in maintenance." You know what I mean? Because they have networked online, so even that can work as well.
Super. I was going to ask you about business banking in Grenada, but that could be a whole another half hour, so we will skip that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Banking can be a challenge, but hopefully we'll get better. Yeah. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy. But I think for me, you know, my mom is here. She's getting older. I think also, like, you know, you work hard, you know, you can go on the beach, you can plant your own food. I think right now, food security is a big thing in the world, you know what I mean? Prices are going up. But there is a number of reasons for being in this part of the world. It's actually, I think, a safer place to be, especially like Grenada. It's one of the places with the lowest crime in the world. So it's a safe place to be, nice place to be, nice air, nice people, friendly people. 365 days of sunshine. Even when it rains, it's still sunshine. You know what I mean? So it's actually paradise here on earth. So people have a choice, right? You know, spend all their life in another country where most of the time, half of the year is winter and you're miserable, or be happy every day of your life. I guess choice is yours.
Yeah, I think we've given a really honest picture of what it's like to do business in Grenada. I think folks who are on the fence, so just come and visit, come for 2 weeks, check it out, see for yourself. Don't trust us, come see, because I think it's a special place. As you said, it's not easy, but nowhere's easy, and I think you can really see the difference of your efforts on an island this small.
Well, actually, good point. I mean, I was talking to someone recently who wanted to do a call center of like maybe 500-600 people. I mean, we already have call centers here who employ like 500-600 people and maybe more at home. And then you were saying that actually he's looking at maybe 5-6 countries. But when we told him about Grenada, he was like, yeah, I have to come and visit. So I think oftentimes, you know, have a conversation, you know, maybe contact Zoe, contact myself, you know, have a conversation, then you think, yeah, come and visit. Because once you come and visit, then you actually get to see on the ground, wow. I mean, we're one of the most beautiful islands in the Caribbean, easygoing, friendly. Obviously, the business environment might be tough, but the people are very lovely.
Yeah, there's a significant payoff. Royston, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to me. I know that you're incredibly busy. I will put all of your details below so folks can reach out to you and get more information. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what comes next. We didn't even get to mention the NGO that you're working on.
Oh, yeah.
Give people with funding, but perhaps we'll do a part 2.
Yeah, next time, part 2, I can talk about that more, you know, having people with funding, the NGO I'm working on. I'm working with, as a matter of fact, just as a testimony, I can help you with funding. The NGO I'm working with, I've actually, you know, had maybe one conversation and helped them to raise 1.1 million. So there you go.
There you go.
Get in touch, see how I can help.
Indeed. And I'll put all your links. You're most welcome. I'll put all your links below. Thank you.